All right, let's go live now to Strasbourg and speak to the former leader of UKIP, Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage, do you accept now that it is unlikely we will leave the EU on March the 29th?
I think I do, yes. I mean, having said that, whatever was voted on tonight, the legislation is still in place. If the Prime Minister held firm, we would be leaving on March the 29th, and she's told the House of Commons over 100 times we would. But I just don't think she or this government have got the will to see it through.
Well, let's look at where we are now. The Commons has voted against the May deal. It's voting against no deal. Tomorrow it will vote to extend the whole Brexit process. You must be worried that Brexit might not happen at all now.
Well, I mean, look, I was more than prepared to accept a Brexit deal with a series of compromises, but I wasn't prepared to accept Monsieur Barnier's treaty, which in many ways gave us a far worse situation than being members of the European Union. So that was wholly unacceptable. I just think this: whatever Parliament does, it is no longer representing the will of people in this country. We're seeing a big coming together, not just of Leavers, but of many Remain voters too, saying what is happening to our democracy. And I think in the end, we are going to get Brexit because the genie is out of the bottle. The trouble is, we've got some more battles to fight.
Well, the Brexit process can only be extended if all 27 EU leaders agree. Have you been lobbying any of your pals in EU governments about vetoing it? It would only take one.
It would, that's right. And I must say, I met Monsieur Barnier at 9 o'clock this morning. I was there at the Conference of Presidents meeting with all the group leaders in the European Parliament. What was very clear to me is there will be no blank cheque extension.
No, but my question was not about Mr. Barnier.
Mr.
Barnier is not one of your pals. My question was, have you been lobbying any of your pals in EU governments? Mr. Salvini, for example, the Deputy Prime Minister in Rome.
I will do whatever I can to get a veto at the European Council next Thursday evening, because that would mean we would leave with no deal.
All right, let me come back to you on that, but let me just go to the vote. Let's go back to Strasbourg, where the former leader of UKIP, Nigel Farage, has been waiting patiently there as these events have been unfolding in London. Thank you for waiting for us. So there you've heard it, a substantial majority voting for a motion which has toughened up the no-deal prospects, and Mrs May saying she will now have to go to the European summit to get some kind of an extension, whether it's a short extension or a long extension. What do you say to that?
Look, there's no point in a short extension. Don't forget, the European Parliament is prorogued on the 18th of April. They're all off to fight European elections. And, of course, they're fighting a populist surge, as they see it, right across Europe. The fact is, if the United Kingdom is still a member of the European Union on May the 23rd, we will have to contest those European elections. And I think that's now becoming pretty much unavoidable.
Are you gearing up to fight the European elections at the end of May?
I have been for some time. I first said in July 2017 that the great Brexit betrayal had begun, and tonight it is nearing its completion. I never trusted our career political class to honour the result of the referendum, even their own election manifestos, let alone the fact that 500 of them voted for Article 50. So yes, I've been preparing for some time.
And just to come back to the point that I was asking you about before we had to come back to the vote in the House of Commons, you are lobbying European governments, or your friends in European governments, to veto a British request for an extension. Is that correct?
That's right. The legislation is still in place. We are still on course, despite this vote tonight, to leave the European Union with no deal if, at 4 o'clock in the morning on the 22nd of March, our request to extend Article 50 has been vetoed. Seems to me then we will be leaving with no deal, whatever our career political class thinks.
And whose ear do you have? Who do you think might be minded to veto our application for an extension? As I said, it only takes one. I was asking you, Mr. Salvini in Rome, he's a mate of yours. Is he minded to push that?
Yeah. Well, I'm not I'm not going to name names right now, but I will do my I've started already, and I will do my best to obtain the veto. I may succeed, I may fail.
All right, Nigel Farage, thank you for being with us tonight and for patiently waiting while we were covering the events inside the chamber.